welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and time for another top 5. So this time we've looked at heavy tanks, we've looked at TDs at tier 7, so also all the tier 6s, we've looked at those using the VB Addicts stats for all the servers over the last 30 days. You can see all kinds of criteria to look at how they perform, how players have used tanks, you know, that kind of stuff. So done heavies, done TDs for tier 7, so I thought, well, let's look at the light tanks next. And you know, doing damage in a light tank isn't its primary goal, so instead of damage dealing, we're going to do damage assistance for all the light tanks at tier 7. So there aren't that many actually, there's only 9 of them, premium and non-premium in the game, and so instead of doing the normal 5 top and 3 bottom, we'll do 5 top and then the bottom 4, and intersperse that with a game from the top assistance damage dealer in the tier. So anyway, let's get going. So number 5 in terms of assistance damage according to VB Addicts over the last 30 days, looking at all the players playing all the servers, comes in the LTG, the Russian tier 7 light tank, and it's an odd little so-and-so, isn't it? I mean, look at that. Only a mother could love this thing. It looks like that turret is far too big for that hull. That's a tank I've never played, so people will need to tell me in the comments what they think of this, but it's obviously well played. Nearly 29,000 games, and assistance damage of 445.84 damage per game, and it's, yeah, it's just an odd looking thing, isn't it? I mean, on the surface, camo doesn't look outstanding. 19.72 without any equipment or any kind of camo on it, and view range is 360, which is also nothing particularly impressive. It does have a pretty good gun on it, so it has this 85mm gun, 10 rounds per minute, 144 penetration, 194 with the skill rounds, 180 average damage, 0.4 dispersion, and 2.3 average sort of aim time, but it's yeah, odd little fish. Mobility wise, also pretty good. 650 horsepower engine, 25.7 power ratio, 63 top speed, and a 50.06 traverse speed is absolutely fantastic. So there you go, that's number 5. So at number 4, I was slightly surprised to see this one, is the T71 CMCD. This is the single shot American light tank at tier 7. So it has a sister tank which has an autoloader, which is the T71 DA, which is actually one of my favourite tanks for the tier, and then this thing which is the single shot. Again, a fairly mobile tank. We are getting what's that, nearly 24.7 power ratio, 64 top speed, and an amazing 67.8 traverse speed. Camo wise, not the best, 13.17, worse than the Russian thing, the LTG, mainly because it's quite a big, well, sort of a tall tank for a light tank. But it also has a very, very effective gun. So this thing has a 76mm, 13.3 rounds per minute, 145 pen with standard, 210 with premium, 150 average damage, and dispersion's not bad, 0.38 and 1.9 aim time. So pretty useful thing. In fact, that's the same gun as you get on the autoloader version. So there you go, that is number 4. So number 3 for spotting damage at tier 7 for light tanks, according to VB Addicts over the last 30 days, is the first of the premiums. This is the Type 62, the Chinese tier 7 premium light tank. This thing effectively got a massive buff when they changed the matchmaking, because previously this would see +3 matchmaking in the old version of the game, and then they changed it to just +2, but being a premium tank, they didn't mess with any of its stats, so actually it came out pretty much a whole level better in terms of the ability against the other tier 7 light tanks. It's a premium tank, it's a light tank, but it has extremely effective light tank. Very good damage dealer as well as a damage spotter. So 16,450 games, 544.67 assistance damage on average. It's not the most stealthy tank, so you're only getting what is it, 16.6% without any kind of camo, but you can see here I've got a decent crew with camo, with a net, and I'm getting, what's that, 40% if stationary. So very effective. And of course, apart from the camo net, light tanks get the same value when they're moving as they do when they're stationary, which is kind of very effective. Of course, when you fire, you lose that. And view range is also very good compared to the other two we've already looked at. This thing has a view range of 390, and again, with reasonable equipment, you can get that up considerably. I've got binos, I've got a decent crew, again 527, which is way beyond the maximum, but basically means it's easier to spot things when they aren't at that range. What it pays for in terms of kind of good battle tank, I guess, is its its mobility. It's not as mobile as the other two. 20 power ratio, 60 top speed is not bad, and 65.75 traverse speed. Takes a little while to get going, but is pretty good once it has. Again, uses the 85mm gun, 10.9 rate of fire, 145 penetration with a standard round, 220 with a premium. You will see people spamming heat shells in this all day long. 180 average damage, 0.37 dispersion, and 2.3 aim time. So there you go. That is the Type 64. Type 64? Type 62. Freudian slip. So next up, and this is one of the oddities of the VB Addicts compilation, because it just takes stats on tanks. It doesn't take it doesn't take a sensible route with some of them, shall we say. So number 1 and number 2 are the same tank in the charts. Yeah, I know. What are you smoking, Dom? But let me explain. So the AMX 1357 is the Tier 7 French premium auto-loading light tank. Now originally it was sold in this format, having the horrible War Games League logo on the side of it, and that was the only way you could buy it. Then just recently it was released without that logo on it, so as a standard non-girlfriend version, and the problem is the stats do designate between the two, even though they are identical vehicles in terms of what they deliver. So I'm going to have to look at this, draw these two together in one go. So number 2 is the AMX 1357, the newer of the two, the one that has no logo on it. 32,557 games, so this was obviously a very popular premium tank when it went back up for sale, and I can't blame people because I love mine. Well, my GF version of it, averaging 572.47 spotting damage per game. It is very sneaky. So it has 18.77 base view range, and as you can see, with a bit of equipment and camo, this thing already counts as having camo, up to 35.59, so not quite as stealthy as some of the others. View range is 390 again, but really what makes this exciting and fun is the gun. This has a 57mm auto-loading gun, 7 rounds in the shell, 7 shells in the round, sorry. Takes 1 second to reload each shot, so basically 8 seconds you've unleashed everything. It is the fastest firing gun in the game. 16 seconds to reload the entire clip. Now it is only a 57mm, which means it has pretty good penetration, 143 with premium, with standard, 195 with premium, but only does 90 average damage, and dispersion is 0.37, aim time of 2.3. Indeed, the aim time is so slow compared to the reload time that you find yourself sitting around waiting for the gun to reload, or to, once it's reloaded, waiting for the aim time to come in, or you spray the shells all over the place. But it's a fun tank to play, pretty mobile. Here we go. It is 14 tons, well 15 tons, only 250 horsepower engine, because 16.78 power ratio, 61 top speed, and 59.7 in terms of traverse speed, which means top of the charts in terms of VB Addict's stats for assistance damage. Tier 7 for light tanks is the same tank, the AMX 1357 GF this time. So this is the one that was sold a couple of years ago, hasn't been resold for some considerable time until this month. 17,213 games, 587.42 average assistance damage per game. As I say, it's exactly the same as the other version. The only difference is this thing comes with already attached camo, which isn't quite as effective as the standard camo that you would paint on the thing, but it comes on the tank and you can't remove it. But otherwise exactly the same, still has the same 57mm auto-loading gun, same stats in terms of mobility and everything else, and is a damn good fun tank to play. So bit of an unbalance in terms of the stats, but just that's the way VB Addicts collect them. So number 1 is the Grand Final AMX, number 2 is the standard AMX, number 3 is the Type 64, I keep saying 64, Type 62, number 4 is the T71 single shell light tank, and number 5 is the LTG Russian light tank. So enough of the kerfuffle, let's take the see a game in the AMX 1357 to show how it performs. Okay, so let's see the 1357 at play. This is Sach Juju taking out for a spin with us, and he started the game. He's on Live Oaks here. It's a tier 8 match, so he's had pretty good matchmaking, and he started the game by telling his team where he was going to go to. That LTTB ignored and carried on exactly where he wanted to go, but at least he told his team. He told them that he was coming up to this bush here and to pay attention to the hill, and to be fair to them, that's what they seem to be doing. He's got into position, he's got some scouting doing. Spotted. Got a tremendously long view range from here. Tiger 2 spotted. Pulling back to try and have a few shots maybe. No, he's not risking it for a biscuit. You can see the shells whizzing past him. 1400 assistance already. He's already beaten the average, just like that. Yeah, he's pulled back, so it's got a solid bush there, and that's why he's taken the risk of firing. But that's very, very long range, and he's not hit anything. Move back forward again, spot them all again. 1800 assistance so far. He actually hit the pilot, yeah, and he penned him. Only 3 shells left in his magazine. Move back forward, spot them all again. They must know where he is. Roughly where he is. KB-85's being eaten. Any downside is he's spotted an awful lot here, done 2,700 assistance, but you can see his team have all stopped. They're all just sitting there waiting for him to feed him. Feed me now, feed me! And as a result they haven't, well, they're only just starting to commit to the city. I like what he's doing with the bush here. He's using the mechanics really well. If you keep the bush so it's solid, you shouldn't be spotted through it if you fire through it. It's only if it's translucent you will be spotted. VK disappeared just as we had a chance to finish him off, but no joy. So he's gone for the reload again, using the feature under Z to tell the team how long he is on reload for. Not that they're going to be particularly desperate to know with a light tank, but it's, you know, still good to tell your team. It's good to get into the habit, because if they're expecting you to support them as they go bulldozing in and you're still on reload, they might just pause for a minute or two. There's the enemy 1357. Well, it's not as good because it hasn't got grand final splattered all over it. Although that said, we managed to miss every single shot there. But you know, this gun is not the most accurate in the West. It's gone for the reload again. Get a full clip. LCTB is coming forward again. So he's determined not to lose his spotting here. So he's going forward a little bit more ballsy than I think he was ready to be at this stage. And there is the enemy. Oh, look at that. VK taken down. There's a Tiger 2 out there. Oh, there's a whole load of enemy tanks hiding at the back here. It's 8-4 to his team. Nice shot into the Tiger 2 there. Very nice. Really needs his team to push forward a bit to put some pressure. If the enemy realised how few tanks there are here, there's just 3 light tanks here holding up virtually, well, a third of the enemy team, shall we say. And you can see this thing is, you know, it's a nimble little nimble little light tank. But the alpha is so disappointing that you really just, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. But for all that, it's a little light tank I love playing. Risky maneuver. Comes over to take the IKV-65 out. Does that really nicely. Aims in on that Panther at the distance. Takes a shot from the Panther, but it was almost worth it to put 3 shots in, empty his magazine, and he's now on the reload. 14.69 seconds to get the whole clip back for him. Still got aim on that Panther. Look at this rapid fire on this gun. Just amazing. Oh, our artillery just took out our T3485. So Satch Juju is moving forward now. It's got its clip reloaded. There's artillery down here to take care of. Locked on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's dead. Actually, was that 5? I've lost count. Anyway, took him down. Not sure where he's pulled out to this view, but hey, each their own. There's only an 87 left out there, and you can see this tank is really, really good. It's such a rapid firing gun, pretty mobile, pretty good spot, pretty good camo. Everything's pretty good about it, apart from that gun, which is absolutely awesome. Okay, not much alpha, but wow, does it spit shells out at a rapid rate of knots. And you don't need to... trouble is you can't pen... Okay, finally pen that guy. There we go. Well done. Nicely done. So it wasn't quite an ace tanker. He got a first class for that one. He got spotter, fire for effect, and patrol duty. I mean, look at all the spots and the assistance damage he did here. Finished up unsurprisingly top of his team. Still did nearly 2,000 damage himself and 3 kills, but 1485 base XP. Oops. Fired 41 shots, hit with 30 and penned with 23 for that 2,000 damage. He took 1 hit himself. He's a light tank, so of course it penned him. 3,588 assistance damage. That's what a light tank is supposed to do, and he did it really nicely. 99,945 credits, plus some boost for running some kind of booster on there. Gave him, with after costs, 81,408 credits, which is a pretty darn good return. and with the same boost running, he made 3,788 credits, sorry, experience for his crew. So there you go. That is the AMX 1357 Girlfriend, driven by Sach Juju. Just showing off that spotting ability, and also that little gun, which is just awesome. Eats people alive, but in a very, very small and quiet way. So we're seeing the top of the pile. Now let's look at the bottom. So as I said before, there's only 9 light tanks at tier 7 in the game, so I'm going to look at the bottom 4 so you get every single tank in the list, and particularly because effectively it's 2 at number 1 and 2, exactly the same tank. So at number 6 is the SPIC, the Spahpanzer SP I C, the SPIC. Now back in the day, I'm pretty sure, am I right in saying this used to have an autoloader but doesn't anymore? It's a German light tank, pretty mobile. That's one of its big features. It is 24.29 power ratio, 58 top speed is not great, and traverse speed of 45.8. So you know, it's okay, it's pretty nimble, gets around reasonably well, but it is a big thing. 16.2 camo value is not very good indeed, and its view range, well, actually it's okay. 390 is actually pretty reasonable. Gun wise, it carries the 290mm options. The top one is 6.67 rate of fire, 158 pen, 210 with the skill rounds, 220 average damage, 0.36 dispersion is very good for a light tank, and 2.2 aim time. So yeah, this thing comes in at number 4, 32,708 games, 334.37 assistance damage. So this surprised me somewhat, that third from bottom, so in 7th place, is the Chinese regular light tank, the WZ-131. You can see I've got 2 marks on mine. I actually really love this tank. I've kept it even though I'm up to tier 8 now, because I enjoy playing this one. But it did get a little bit of a nerf. It had a slightly more effective gun previously, but still is a very effective light tank in my book. But according to the stats, I'm one of the few that enjoy it. So 32,622 games, 431.87 assistance damage on average. Again, a pretty mobile, well, reasonably mobile tank. It's more like a medium light in some ways. So power ratio 25.7, 60 top speed, 64 traverse speed is pretty reasonable. Concealment wise, well, it's okay, it's nothing special. 16.5 when stationary, although again with a decent crew you can get that up. I'm now nearly 30% with this crew, and spotting range is a pretty woeful 360, but again, I use coated optics on mine. I'm up to 430 with a decent crew, so you can get that value up, but as stock it's not so good. So good little tank. I think personally I really enjoy this thing. Comes out with 2 potential guns, but the top gun is the 85mm, 8 rounds per minute, 159 penetration is very good, and 230 with premium, and 200 average damage, 0.36 dispersion, and 2.5 aim time. So I think a nice little tier 7 light tank, but it's also got that really nice gun brake here on the gun. Anyway, that's well, third from bottom according to the stats. So another slight surprise, at least for me, was second bottom was the AMX 1375, the French tier 7 light tank. Now I can only imagine that some of these are coming out low because I'm judging it on spotting damage, and if I was looking at damage delivered, they may well perform slightly better, because this thing is a pretty reasonable light tank. 17.67 base camo, so better than the Chinese thing. Spotting range of 370 is 10 better than the Chinese thing, and mobility wise it's a nice lightweight speedster. 26.3 power ratio, 61 top speed, and traverse speed of 43.8. So yeah, pretty good. Also comes with a very nice 75mm autoloader. 4 shells in the magazine, 2 seconds to reload each shot, 14 seconds to reload the entire clip of 4, 144 average pen, 202 with premium, and 135 average damage. Dispersion 0.38, aim time of 2. So, you know, a good all-round light tank in my book, but it's down here at number 2 from bottom. 78,384 games, 412.95 average spotting damage. So another surprise for me, at least, bottom of the pile according to VB Addicts for the last 30 days for spotting assistance is the other American Tier 7 light tank, the T71 DA, the auto-loading variant of the CMCD, the single shell gun, which comes at level 4 on the chart. So this thing, 67,000 games, 67,500 games actually, only 411.73 assistance damage. Again, I suspect these are because they're probably better for damage dealing than a conventional tank, for some of the other tanks anyway on here. But you know, primary role of these things is scouting ability. That's really what light tanks are in the game for. So I was somewhat surprised to see this. This has a good view range, 390, and camo is nothing special. Again, it's quite a high tank, 14.3, which I'm slightly surprised about. And even with a reasonable crew, I haven't got the best crew here, I'm only getting 26.6, so it's not the stealthiest, and that's probably why it doesn't do so well in the charts. Mobility wise, nice, 24.47 power ratio, 64 top speed, and 63.18 traverse speed, so it gets around pretty nimbly, and it also has a very effective top gun. 76mm autoloader, 6 shells in the magazine, 2 seconds to reload each shot, 20 seconds however to reload the entire clip, but then you are getting 6 shells out of it. 145 pen, 210 if you use the heat rounds this thing has, and 150 average damage. Dispersion loses a little bit, 0.39, an aim time of 2.1. So yeah, I can see why this one isn't at the top of the charts, but personally the charts are almost reversed. Well, no, actually, I like pretty much all these tier 7 light tanks. I think they're all very, very strong indeed, and with the matchmaking they do very well indeed. So, but the stats don't lie. This one comes in bottom of the charts in terms of assistance damage at least. So there you go. So I hope you found this interesting and useful. I certainly did. I found it very interesting to see. Well, I think it's disappointing that there's 2 versions of the 1357 in the charts, but can't be helped. But very interesting to see. I wouldn't necessarily have the order that they have it here. And personally, I like this. I like the autoloaders on this tier. They're very, very good, and I love the WZ131. But as I say, I think it's probably down to the fact those tanks are probably very, very good in terms of damage dealing, and the way the meta works around light tanks in the game these days, it's about as much doing damage with a light tank as it is spotting. So it's probably a little bit unbalanced that way, but I think it's still fairer to look at light tanks as spotters, because that's kind of their primary role really. Anyway, hope you found it useful and interesting. If you did, please give it a like, and as ever, let me know down in the chat what you think about this. If you think you agree with them in terms of where they fit. I mean, personally for me, the SPIC and the LTG would be lower down, but hey, I know I'm a bit odd with my play style and the tanks I like to play. So anyway, with that, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously. This is GamerDom signing out.